and he did the big poll of 17 personnel people who gave 10 first-place votes to CD and only 5 to Jerry Jeudy. On Jordan Love, Bob McGinn's research told him the mixed reviews tended to be more no than yes on Jordan Love. Aha! Mm-hmm. So Bob McGinn is also admitting this is a longer shot than you might think on Jordan Love being able to replace Aaron Rodgers. But my final point, and then I'll let you respond to everything I just said, Bob McGinn also has pointed out in another piece that he wrote that in the grades, he always gives the Green Bay quarterback a grade for the year. And he has made a strong point that he was still giving Brett Favre very good grades in the 3 years leading up to the drafting of Aaron Rodgers. That, to Bob McGinn, was more of a blindside shot where he did not see that one coming because it wasn't needed yet when they took Aaron Rodgers with the 24th overall pick, because remember, it was between him and Alex Smith. Might go number 1 out of Cal, and he fell, and finally Ted Thompson said, I got to do this. I got to pull this trigger at 24. But his point was, in the 3 previous seasons to that, Brett Favre, if we go back, it goes 04, 03, 02, Brett Favre's grades were B+, B+, and B. So Brett Favre had still been playing at a very high level, but Bob McGinn points out, Shannon, that Aaron Rodgers has been, according to Bob McGinn, pedestrian over the last 3 seasons with grades of C+, C+, and B over the last 3 years. And I told you the stats are saying decline, decline, decline. And so, again, it's more necessary now to replace Aaron Rodgers than it was necessary back in 05 to start thinking about replacing Brett Favre. So I think I first guessed this. I think I saw this coming. I get what they're doing. I'm just not sure they're doing it with the next Aaron Rodgers, because I'm not sure that Jordan Love is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Skip, let's take what you said last, is that the last 3 years that he had given Brett Favre B+, 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 in his last 3 years, he's given Aaron Rodgers C+, C-, a D, or whatever it was. Now, 2 of those 3 years, Aaron Rodgers was hurt, broke his collarbone, so I don't know how you definitively give him a grade. In the next year, he hurts his knee in the very first game, and so I don't know how you give him the definitive grade when you know that he's injured. Second and third of all, last year, Brett Favre, in those 2 years, he never had a season like what Aaron had last year. You know that, I know that. And Brett never reached the NFC Championship game again. Aaron Rodgers has just left the NFC Championship game. They got run off the field. That's what did happen. They got run off the field in the last game of the year up in San Francisco, Levi Stadium. That's what it's called, Levi. That's what did happen. Skip, the problem that I have with you is that when we go back and look at Aaron's run and the games that he's won, you always try to minimize him. You talk about he beat Joe Webb, or you talk about he beat that guy. But you never say about when Tom Brady beat Phillip Rivers with a torn ACL, or when he beat Blake Bortles, or when he beat David Garrard. It's always, Skip, you can't minimize. All you can do is play who's on the other side, regardless who the quarterback is. Yes, Tom Brady has beaten Peyton Manning in some Super Bowls. In the AFC Championship games to get to Super Bowls. Yes, he's beaten some good guys in Super Bowls. But, Skip, you can't minimize what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do. He's been great, basically, since he stepped on the field as the starting quarterback. And since you said all of his numbers is going down and he's not the same, is that why Tom Brady jumped ship? Is that why he went and linked up with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Cameron Brate, and O.J. Howard? Is that why he did that? Because he needs help? He's not the same guy? All of a sudden, he doesn't have the strength to pull guys along that might not be Randy Moss or top-tier talent? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Because I just need to know, because all the numbers that you threw out, completion percentage, QBR. Go ahead.
Timeout. Last year, Tom Brady's receivers were dead last in the National Football League in separation, and his go-to receiver was a broken-down, beat-up Julian Edelman, aging, and leading the league in drop passes. And yes, I believe Tom Brady looked at what was left in New England and said, this is horrible. This is only going to get worse. And I think it has gotten worse through free agency and the draft, thanks to Bill Belichick. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But I think Tom Brady finally woke up and said, I can't win with this. I'll go there. My coach is trying to push me out the back door anyway. So, and I told you the other day, maybe it's about time for Aaron Rodgers to start looking elsewhere.
Oh, really, Skip? Is that what GOATs do? They look around and say, I can't win here, and they leave? Because you told me Michael Jordan would have never done that. You told me Michael Jordan stayed. When it got rough in Chicago, he stayed, and he won there, and that's why a lot of people give him credit. Now, all of a sudden, the GOAT, he looks around and says, I can't win with this? Really? Oh, that's news to me, and I'm glad you said that.
Well, it's not news to you because you're the first to admit Bill Belichick's been trying to sabotage Tom Brady, make it harder and harder on Tom Brady. He cost him that Super Bowl against Nick Foles when Bill Belichick gave up 41 points to the backup quarterback for the Eagles. And Tom Brady said, I can't live with this anymore because he's trying to make it as hard on me as he can. You've been the first to admit that. So, yeah, at age 42, after 20 years, Tom Brady finally said, that's enough. I don't see near the decline in Tom Brady. I didn't see any decline. I definitely see decline in Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know what you're talking about. Brett Favre never had a season like Aaron Rodgers had last year. I think that's what you said.
No.
I mean, Brett Favre left Green Bay and had a great season in Minnesota.
No, Skip. I'm saying the seasons that he's talking about. Skip, Brett was an MVP, so clearly he had some great seasons. But Brett Favre was a turnover machine. There's a reason why he why he is the all-time career interception leader. He's thrown more interceptions than any other quarterback in the history of the game. Skip, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when he's evaluating, Mr. McGinn says he evaluated Brett Favre, what was it, 2003, 4, and 5. If you look at those seasons, it's hard for me to believe that they were better than what Aaron Rodgers just put on tape this past season. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying Brett Favre never had a great season. Clearly, he was an MVP. He won a Super Bowl. He's a multiple-time league MVP. So, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the seasons that which he evaluated. And last year, what we're talking about right here with Aaron Rodgers, it's hard for me to believe without going back and looking at it and fully evaluating it says, oh, yeah, Brett Favre played better than Aaron Rodgers did last year. No, it's hard for me to believe that, Skip. And no, what the Packers did get tired of Brett Favre every year threatened to retire and not coming to OTAs and not coming to minicamps. They did get tired of that.
Okay, well, I'm here to assert that LaFleur is tired of Aaron's act. That's what McGinn is writing about. Remember the Bleacher Report story of about a year ago?
Yes.
Remember the big bombshell about all things Packers, but especially about Aaron? And again, I've always told you what I don't like about him is he can be a blame-deflecting, finger-pointing diva. He's got a lot of that in him, and I think you've agreed with that on occasion.
Yeah.
I know Greg Jennings, who caught passes from Aaron's been on Undisputed a lot, has agreed with parts of that. And that bombshell story had the line that said that the president and CEO, remember, called Aaron to tell him, I have chosen Matt LaFleur. Like, he didn't ask his permission.
Right.
He said, I'm hiring this young coach. He's going to be your coach. So he said, according to the article, don't you be the problem. Don't be the problem going forward. And again, what's his name? Mike Murphy. He said, you know,
Mark
he
Murphy.
denied that he said that. But Mark Murphy, I'm sorry, Mark Murphy. Yeah, who played, obviously, for the Redskins. Mark Murphy said, I didn't say it, but it sounded like semantically he's saying, well, I said something like that. And I think he did because they don't want Aaron to continue to be the problem. And I believe he was still the problem in their eyes last year, and that they are telling Bob McGinn that off the record behind the scenes. And so he's saying they're sick and tired of this. They want some new leverage to try to keep Aaron under wraps, you know, sort of, if you will, under thumb, make him a little more coachable. And one way to make him more coachable is to say, well, guess what? we have your successor right here in-house. We don't have to go trade for him or sign him in free agency. We got him right here, right now. So maybe you